Hi guys, welcome to another video. I've had quite a few new followers on Instagram and some of my other social media profiles over the last week, and I thought it would be a good idea to do a bit of an update to let you all know what's going on, whereabouts I am and how far I've got so far. I've not actually been out on the towpath since I went down to London a couple of weeks ago with my friend Martin and some of the other guys, and we walked the Regent's Canal and the Paddington Arm. I needed to give my legs a bit of a rest, and also I've been quite busy over the last couple of weeks with work and family stuff. So yeah, I've kind of had a couple of weeks off, but I'm eager to get back onto the towpath this weekend. With work, I had to go and do a big talk, big for me anyway, to 300, 400 people. It was at the Oval, a cricket ground in London. So I had that on my mind for quite a few weeks while I prepared and wrote what I was going to say and practiced and rehearsed and stuff. So that kind of dominated my thinking. I didn't have a lot of space for putting out content, so I do apologise. I've also been out having fishing lessons with my son Josh. He's quite keen on learning how to fish, so I booked a lesson with the Canal and Rivers Trust over at Blythe Waters in Solihull, and we had a great time building up a bit of confidence about how to handle the fish that we catch, how to remove the hooks and things, and it's been great. It's just another way of enjoying the waterways, and yeah, I can see myself relaxing out by the water somewhere on harder days where I've got a lot on my mind, probably like today, to be honest. So yeah, watch this space. I might put some videos out if you want to watch a beginner fumbling his way around a hook and a reel. And I also thought it would be probably a good time to pause and reflect back over my journey so far. I've been doing Walk the Cut for about a year, or thereabouts, I think, and so much seems to have happened in that time. A lot of experiences. So I wanted to kind of sit back here and talk about where I'm at with that and share that with you. So obviously, as most of you would probably know by now, I'm doing Walk the Cut because of ulcerative colitis. It's a form of inflammatory bowel disease, and I suffer from that, as you know. There are other forms of inflammatory bowel disease out there, including Crohn's disease, which you've probably more likely to have heard of. And it's quite a bad chronic illness, and once you've got it, there's no cure. It just becomes about managing symptoms and trying to stay in remission for as long as possible. Throughout life, I will have many flare-ups, I should imagine, just like the one I had in 2024 that caused me to decide to do this. Yeah, but I'm in remission at the moment, touch wood, and yeah, feeling quite good. So as you know, I was very ill in 2024 with an ulcerative colitis flare-up, which lasted the whole year and took a long time for me to get it under control. A lot of hospital tests, colonoscopies, blood tests, stool samples, God knows what else. It's a difficult year, but it built up my resilience. But it did impact my mental health quite a bit because, as I've explained before, with ulcerative colitis, when you're having a flare-up, you need to be near a toilet 24/7 pretty much, because you're constantly going to toilet throughout the day, diarrhea and blood and all that stuff. And yeah, after a few accidents, I built up anxiety about leaving the house. If you are frightened of shitting yourself every time you go out down the street, then you're not going to want to go out downtown where there's lots of people. And I had to do a bit of travelling for work, getting on the train down to London. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours on the train. I had a lot of anxiety about that because of the obvious implications if I have an accident on the train in front of all those people. And it built up a lot of anxiety, and I found it difficult to leave the house even after I'd entered remission. So I set up this Walk the Cut challenge, walking 2,000 miles of Britain's canal towpaths, as a way of combating that anxiety and forcing myself outside the front door. And as you know, I post on YouTube, Instagram, Threads, not to say, oh, look at me and all that kind of stuff and get followers, but to raise awareness and to force myself outside the door, because all you guys are expecting me to get out there and walk the towpath. So I purposely did that. I actually live in a house that's somewhere close to the towpath for the Stratford-upon-Avon Canal, and when I first started to get out, I just started to walk casually along there, short bursts to begin with, and I found it really helped with my mental health and the stress on my mind and building up my confidence. And I decided to walk the full 2,000 miles of Britain's waterways. And another bonus about doing this is I am able to raise awareness about inflammatory bowel disease and how it impacts people. It's one of those diseases that's not always visible. I mean, it is pretty visible if someone has an accident in front of you. But generally, you can look at somebody and not know that they were struggling with it. And if, in my situation, you were entering remission, starting to get it under control, some of those psychological impacts, are hard to see, aren't they? So raising awareness for inflammatory bowel disease is an important thing for me. Crohn's and Colitis UK are a charity who help support people like me, and I got a lot from them during my illness a couple of years ago. So it's really great to be able to try and give something back to them. So I put out content that raises that awareness, and I'm also looking to kind of raise a little bit of money for the charity as well. There's 2,000 miles of waterways in the UK, as part of this network anyway. 2,000 miles is my target in terms of walking. So my overall monetary target will be £2,000. So that'll be £1 for every mile I plan on walking around the network. At the time, excuse me, at the time of recording this, I have raised £190, which is fantastic. So thanks again to all of you guys who have donated. Really appreciate it. That money's gone straight to Crohn's and Colitis UK to help support the work they do for people like me. If you do feel like parting with some of your hard-earned spondoolies, there's a link on my social media profiles, or YouTube channel, whatever you're on. They'll find a GoFundMe link on there, so the money will go straight to the charity. I obviously won't see any of that, but I'd really appreciate it. Any donation, even if it's just £1, it adds on to the total. So I thought it'd be a good idea to give you a bit of an update of my progress. So at the time of recording, I've so far walked 177 miles of the towpaths. So I've got a long way to go yet. But I've currently finished the Stratford-upon-Avon Canal. That was the first one I did. I've walked the Birmingham Main Line, both the old and the new sections. I've walked the Worcester and Birmingham Canal, the Coventry Canal, the Paddington Arm and Regent's Canal in London. And I'm now working on doing sections of the Grand Union Canal. I've so far walked from Birmingham to Warwick. So far I've stopped at 41 pubs, so I've had 41 pints of beer. Although, to be honest, in more than a couple of those pubs, I've had a couple of beers, so it's probably closer to like 50 or 60 pints so far, which is it's been great. I've tried a lot of different beers. The canal side pubs have been fantastic. The rule I've set, especially when I'm out with my friends walking the canals, is that if we come across a canal that's actually on the towpath or on the canal, we've got to stop at it if it's open to have a beer. So that's what we've been doing. 41 pubs stopped at so far. I've put together some statistics. They're a bit rough because it's hard to get some of these statistics right, but you'll see what I mean. So I've walked 177 miles so far. That's 8.8% of the total mileage. So that's not a bad dent, to be honest, but I've still got a long way to go. I've got 1,823 miles left to walk. I have passed 195 locks so far. I have walked under 483 bridges, roughly. There's some debate about that because it's hard to get an exact figure in some places. And I've walked through or over 8 tunnels. So yeah, there's some stats, bit of a stat update for you. Also, one of the things that's been great walking so far, specifically on the Worcester and Birmingham Canal, is my opportunity to be filmed by Channel 4's Narrow Escapes TV programme for season 4. So at the time of recording this video, season 3 has just been released. So it will be next year's season if it makes it onto the big screen. Also, there is the risk that my footage won't be showed, of course, but it was a great experience anyway, to be walking along with my friends and have that experience of being followed around by a film crew. I think is something I'll never forget, and I'm pretty sure my friends won't forget that either. So I'm very grateful for that Media Boldover for agreeing to film me. There is a chance there'll be further filming sessions throughout this year, but I'm not sure. We'll just have to wait and see. So watch this space anyway. I'll keep you updated, and we'll just see what happens with that. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about some of the things that have surprised me most about the waterways so far. You know, I've walked sections with my friend Martin. He's a good friend. I used to work with him many years ago now, over 10 years ago I think, and we've stayed in touch. We've done a lot of walks together. Even before I did Walk the Cut, we were walking in the Peak District and other kind of long distance walking trails, and he likes to come along on some of these canal walks as well. He seems to enjoy meeting the people on the canals as much as I do, and stopping at the pubs and seeing the different places. He really gets a lot out of. So it's been great to be able to walk various sections with Martin. You know, you've got plenty of the videos of me walking with Martin on here, so you probably have seen those already. Hello, dog, Molly. I've walked a few short stretches with my sons. My boys have come out on a few stretches with me when we've been walking the Birmingham main line, the latest sections of that, and that's been fantastic. Hopefully they'll come out. I'm trying to encourage them to come out on more walks and outdoor adventures, so hopefully they'll come out with me again in the future. And there's been a couple of occasions where I've walked with a bigger group of friends, Martin and my friends. The first of those was the filming with Channel 4's Narrow Escapes on the Worcester and Birmingham Canal, and that was a fantastic day. But more recently, my trip down to London, where I walked the Regent's Canal and the Paddington Arm, that was with those guys as well. And they've been really good sessions, and hopefully there'll be more of those as well as time progresses and I work my way further around the network. And of course I've walked a lot of stretches alone, solo. I'm not going to walk all of them with other people. You know, this is my mission, and I'm pretty sure they haven't signed up to walk 2,000 miles. So there'll be plenty of solo walking, camping, cycling as well, as I work my way around. And you know, I've met some lovely people actually out on the towpaths. I've met people who are living on the boats or use their boats as a business. I've met dog walkers, hikers, cyclists, anglers, canal and river trust employees, and I've stopped to talk to all kinds of people, and it's been fantastic. It's really kind of opened my eyes. If you are one of the people that think canals are dodgy and horrible and weirdos hang around down there. I've not found that. I'm not saying that there aren't times where incidents happen, particularly in city centre sections or urban areas where you've got antisocial behaviour. But even when I walked through the Birmingham sections, I've not had any issues. Obviously, you're going to need to be careful, sort of walking, down the canals. You've got to, have your attention and be risk aware. But all I'm trying to say is that so far, my experience has been that there's a lot of great people down there. And the variety of people has been fantastic. And I really like just the variety of ways people are using the canals. You've got people who are walking there just for exercise, people who are running and cycling, people who are fishing, people that are walking along and having a natter. There's people running, people kayaking, people living on the boats, working on the boats, working on the canals. There's just such variety. When I first started doing this big walk, I started off with the Stratford-upon-Avon Canal, and I was really happy to meet a couple called Ali and John. They were really kind and let me sort of step aboard the narrow boat and allowed me to have a quick go at piloting it, which was a lot harder than it looks. I think I need a lot of practice. I think their boat survived. I didn't crash it, but it was probably a close call as we approached one of the bridges. But we won't go into that. But if you happen to be watching this, Ali and John, I hope you're well. I hope you're still cruising. I do follow your posts on Instagram, and it's great to see your updates. I know John was unwell, so I hope all is going well there, and that things are taking a step in the right direction. And it'll be good to see you again if you ever sort of come back this way. It was also really good recently to meet Matt from Narrowboat Poles. When we walked the Regent's Canal on the Paddington Arm, it was fantastic to meet him. We originally started speaking on one of my social media platforms, Instagram. I'd been following him and he'd been following me for a while, and we've been commenting on each other's posts, and it was just really great to get a chance to meet him and have a laugh along the canal tow path and in some of the pubs as well. I look forward to sort of catching up with you again, Matt. And there's lots of people I've met online and look forward to meeting in person. Rachel from Drifting Back to Centre. We've sort of been following each other for a while and post the odd comment. And really hope to meet you and Esme soon, possibly at Braunston. We'll see. It'd be good to catch up and have a good chat anyway. And it's quite interesting actually how all the canals actually have their own individual personalities. So it's not just it's not just the variety of people who have got all different types of characters. The canals themselves are all very different. The Stratford-upon-Avon Canal is so different from the Worcester and Birmingham Canal, and the Birmingham mainline canals are so different, and I love that, and I kind of think, wow, I've still got 1,800 and whatever miles to walk. Wow, so much out there for me to see and experience, and I'm really excited about it. So watch this space. So I put out a post on Threads and Instagram recently, and there's a few questions that were submitted to me through the private message. So the first one was, do I ever take this cap off? And the honest answer is it's surgically attached. It's not really, of course. It's just, and it's not only to hide this horrible hair, this receding hair. I'm on some medication called infliximab, which is an immunosuppressant. So with ulcerative colitis, it's an autoimmune disease where my body is attacking my bowels. My own body's attacking itself. My own immune system is attacking itself. So I have to have immunosuppressants to kind of try and suppress that from happening, and it works really well. And I'm on infliximab. I have to go to the hospital every 6 weeks to have an infusion, and they'll stick a cannula in my arm. I'll sit there for an hour, read a book, while they pump this miracle juice into me. And one of the side effects of that is an increased risk of skin cancer. So I've been advised to take extra precautions. So whenever I'm outside, I wear this baseball cap because my hair's quite light and very thin, as you can see. It tends to burn, and in the past I've already had some kind of lesion things that have had to be kind of burned off. So I don't want to take any unnecessary risks. So hence this cap. Question 2: has my mission worked? So obviously my mission to walk 2,000 miles was to help me conquer my anxiety and build confidence and rebuild my physical fitness. And has it worked? Yes and no. It has helped me build up a massive amount of confidence. It's helped me to become quite resilient and practice what I preach. Do I still get times where I have anxiety? Yes. So a couple of weekends ago, when we did the Regent's Canal in the Paddington Arm, that was the first time I'd done a 2-day walk. I was a little bit anxious about toilets and how I was going to cope with it, but it worked out all right. I think the key is to do it anyway. That's what courage is, right? Being scared but doing something anyway. And I'm keen to kind of develop courage and demonstrate courage where I can. That doesn't mean I'm anything special. I'm here trying to inspire people to get outside their front door if they're struggling with similar anxieties. I'd be pretty shit at that, wouldn't I, if I couldn't even step outside myself. So in some ways it has worked. Yes, I've built up confidence about leaving the house. My physical fitness has improved significantly. But am I cured of being nervous about going out? Not completely, no. But I always take my emergency kit with me in case something happens. You probably see some posts on here about it. And I have a plan in place. I kind of map out where toilets might be. I plan if the worst that can happen. I make sure that I take my medication properly. And I just go with it anyway. I just go with it anyway. What's been my biggest challenge so far? So for me, overcoming that anxiety in the early stages was a challenge. One of the symptoms of ulcerative colitis and Crohn's and other inflammatory bowel diseases is the immense fatigue that you can get. I don't just mean tiredness, I mean very, very bad fatigue. So it's, sometimes when I'm out walking, especially like the longer distances, it's I can feel that fatigue and I have to push through it. So it can be very hard to do. That's why sometimes you see me with my walking pole. When I start to feel that fatigue coming out, I use that pole to just help me along a little bit. It helps, and again, the challenge of dealing with that anxiety has been there. There was an occasion where me and Martin were due to go out on a walk, and we drove to the start point. A good 30-minute drive. Martin picked me up and we went. And I started to feel a bit unwell on the way to the start point with stomach pains, and I needed the toilet. We found a public toilet. Luckily, at that time, I had a radar with me, which I have in case I need access to disabled toilets. And I pissed blood because my medication had clashed, and that freaked me out significantly, as you can imagine. We had to cancel that walk, and I had to go to hospital to get that dealt with. So that was a bit of a challenge, and that impacted my mental health and my anxiety in a negative way, so it took me a couple of steps back. So that was a bit of a challenge, but overcome that now. We're all good. And what's coming next was the last question. So I'm currently working through the Grand Union Canal. I'm doing that in stages. I've done a couple of stages. I've walked from Birmingham to Warwick along the Grand Union Canal so far. So I'm going to pick up where I left off at Warwick and head through Leamington Spa towards London. I'm going to do that in a number of stages, so they'll be coming up. To keep things a bit interesting, so it's not all samey, I'm going to also walk the River Avon. So there's a 45-mile stretch of the River Avon that forms part of the canal network, I think. So I'm going to not walk the whole length of the Avon. I'm just going to walk that navigable section, which runs from a place I think is called Hampton Lucy or something like that, through to... where is it? I can't remember where it ends. Tewkesbury, I think, maybe somewhere like that. So I'll be doing that in a couple of stages as well. Now, because there isn't a canal towpath along the river, and because stretches of land are private, and I don't really wish to kind of break the law and trespass, I won't be able to stick 100% to the riverbank. So there is a walking path called Shakespeare's Avon Way, which approximates it follows the route of the River Avon as best as can be. So I'm planning on walking that and seeing what the river has to offer as well, because there are big stretches of it where I can be near the river, but where it deviates, I'll be following this path through fields and woods and things like that. So it'll just add a bit of something different to the channel as well. But I didn't want it all to be canals. Making up the network are big stretches of river, and I'm keen to kind of explore that as well. So that's coming up. Me and Martin have been talking about doing a bike packing adventure, so a 2-day cycle along a 40 or 50 mile towpath somewhere in one go, camping up overnight at the end of day one, waking up, packing up and continuing along the towpath in the morning after some sort of breakfast. So that'll be fun, so I'll film that and bring you along with me. So that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there could be some filming sessions with narrow escapes, but as I said before, I don't know if that's going to happen or what's going to happen. But as I said, I've got 1,823 miles of the network left to walk, so there's a lot to come. Lots of canals, lots of rivers, lots of pubs and adventures. Who knows what's going to happen in the meantime? I'm hoping to cycle, walk, kayak. I'm hoping to do a stretch on narrowboat. I'm looking to engage with all kinds of people down there. So who knows, but that's just my initial plan. So anyway, hopefully that's kind of brought everybody up to speed. If you have followed me recently, thank you so much for coming along. I really do appreciate it. Really keen to engage with you as well. So reach out, ping me a message, comment on my posts. And if you happen to be out and about along the towpath or anywhere where I'm walking, engage with me. I'd be keen to meet with you, share a beer, share a conversation, share a stretch of canal towpath, whatever. I'm open to it. So give me a shout. Hope you're all okay, and I will speak to you again very soon.